Hey guys, Comet here. Welcome back to Oxygen Not Included. In the last episode, I put in this space system up here for meteor collecting, and I went ahead and doubled it between episodes. I've also wrangled up all of the shovels that I found. I'm just feeding them the cooled off regolith for now. I've also got in some sweepies to help clean up this mess a little bit here on this side. And over on this side, I also dug out a little bit of the top of the map here, and a little bit on this side. I haven't dug down any further than that. I also put in an extra set of natural gas generators, just to help with the doors opening and closing on the right side. And then I also have some more batteries here for that. That's really all that's happened between episodes. I haven't taken on any new duplicants. I do need to take on a lot in this episode. I need someone to start piloting this rocket. So oh, this has been updated too. The UI is different. So in 0.8 of a cycle, I'll check out the next print. Now I also mentioned in the last episode that I might want to go into debug mode to clean up this Neutroneum, just to preserve the temporal tear achievement. But someone pointed out that there's actually a mod that lets you just straight up dig these tiles. So I've actually installed that. It's working. So I'm going to clean up this edge right here to get in the second rocket. Now you do have to be a little careful because it's possible to just completely dig all of this out. I don't want to do that. I need a little bit of Neutronium. Now do note that there are 3 ticks of diamonds here, so you do need to have a duplicant with the super duper hard digging skill. Oh, and that is the next printable. Let's see here, who do I want to be my first pilot? How about we take Jean here? I don't have a Jean yet. Suit wearing. I think researching, and then operating? How about for the skills? Maybe buff? Buff and twinkle toes are like the 2 basic ones I give almost every duplicant. Maybe as a pilot we want you to be a quick learner. And how about rock fan? That makes sense. Then you'll be biohazardous, have the mouth breather, and bottomless stomach like everyone else. Okay, so this is a +2 duplicant. And then skill distribution's fine there. So we'll go ahead and print Jean. And I think this is a good point for me to go over how I am managing all of these duplicants. So I have a spreadsheet here with multiple tabs. You can see all of the other tabs I've used in the past. But this duplicant tab, this is the one I want to focus on here. So I have every duplicant listed out on the left. This stuff in the middle is kind of irrelevant. I just like knowing that information. The cool part are these drop downs here. So this is just a data validation tile here. I can assign them a task based on this list here, and this is just all the possible tasks a duplicant can do. And then the housing, that is which housing unit they're going to be in, either the left one or the right one. And then to keep the shifts simple, I just have a morning shift, a night shift, and then like an overnight shift. And then it'll auto-populate these over here based on what I put in these drop downs. So we just took on a Jean. I'll show you how this works. So we come over to Jean. You are going to be a pilot, and we'll put you in the right housing unit on the overnight shift. And so piloting, this tile here, or this column here, just got populated with 1 pilot. That is Jean. And the schedule, looks like Jean was assigned here on the overnight shift in the right housing unit. And if you're curious about the formulas I'm using here, this is just the filter function, and it's pulling data from this column here. And then over here, this is also the filter function, and it pulls data from both of these columns. I think I'll leave a link to this spreadsheet now that I'm kind of happy with how it looks. It won't be the editable version, obviously. Don't want anyone messing with it. But you'll be able to just copy everything and put it into your own spreadsheet and then edit it from there. So back into the game, for the schedule, Gene is supposed to go on the right overnight shift. Right there. So this is the default schedule I'm just using as the right morning shift. Well, it's the morning shift for both housing units. I just have a right and a left to keep my duplicants more organized. They've got 5 slots of downtime, 2 slots of bedtime, 1 bath time, and then the next one is just offset by 8 hours, or 8 of these slots here, and then the next one is offset by another 8. And so that's how I end up with the 3 shifts, 8 hours each. That fits within a 24-hour cycle. Now, the bionic duplicants are a little different because they have 3 times the duration for everything. So I just have 3 on the left housing unit and then 3 on the right housing unit. And technically these don't need to be offset at all. But because their schedules are so different from the other base duplicants, I do have a separate schedule. Now these guys can just be applied to, a basic schedule. But then you don't really take full advantage of the capabilities of a bionic duplicant. So we'll go ahead and put Gizmo back over here. So I'll come over to the right housing unit, and we will give Gene a custom permission. Allows access, and then over on the left side, I don't want him intermingling over here. Go ahead and disable inward permissions there. Then get you in a suit immediately. Move you over to there. For his skills, I want to go all the way to rocket navigation. We'll start with advanced research. But it's going to take Gene a while to get skilled up enough to actually pilot the rocket. So in the meantime, I need to put in the telescope and start researching the star map. So right here in the center is a good spot for it. Get rid of those ladders and extend some power over. I will need some oxygen pipes. I think I'm just gonna steal the oxygen from... Oh, right here would work. Now, I think polluted oxygen can actually break the telescope, so I'm gonna filter it first. Just do something like that, that'll work. Then, to keep this from overheating, I do need to stick in a conduction panel right here. But the cool thing is that the conduction panel is actually that whole distance. It's all 3 of these tiles. I don't need any fluid running through it because it's going to be coupled to the window tile, and the window tile is actually cooled by this naphtha going through these tiles over here. So just by putting the conduction panel here, it is still thermally linked to this bottom set of window tiles. Alright, beautiful. Let's check out our first planet here. Analyze that for me. Alright, where is my researcher? Rowan! Oh, you're currently relaxing. Okay, fine. Sure, go ahead. Take a nap. There we go. Now you're gonna go research. Excellent. Probably not the most optimal pathing, but the telescope is just temporary. Once I research everything, duplicants don't need to be up here anymore. Oh, that was fast. Okay, let's analyze this one. What do we have here? This is a carbon asteroid that has refined carbon and coal. Okay, well that's kind of boring. To figure out these other materials, I need to send the research rocket to it. So let's work on stage 2 now. That is getting this rocket fueled up. Right now, I only have the steam engine. The next tier of rockets are locked behind space research. And then the pathing on this, I think I just want to go straight to hydrocarbon combustion. Then I'll pick up the solid cargo and then go back to cryofuel combustion. Now getting steam into this rocket's not the easiest thing in the world. I need to make a little heat-producing system using an aqua tuner and a teppidizer. So something like this should work for now. I'll just drop off some water in here. Back from all the way over here. So I'll have radiant liquid piping down here by the teppidizer. And this doesn't need any bypass mechanism, because it won't be controlled by the temperature of the liquid in the loop. It'll be controlled by the temperature of the steam in this room here. Then this pump will turn on based on the temperature and the pressure. So I'm going to need an AND gate here. So I can say if temperature is... well, if the aqua tuner is on, that means it's too cold. Yeah, I'll just put in a separate thermosensor there. And then an atmo sensor here. Okay. So if it's warm enough, and if the pressure's high enough, go ahead and turn on. And then I'll also need to drop off some water into this room here. And I will need a way of getting power into here. Just use some heavy watt joint plates. So I want the aqua tuner to turn on if the temperature in this room is ever below 150. Then if the temperature is above 125, the gas pump can turn on. And also only if pressure is also above, well, maybe about 2 kilos. Go ahead and turn on. And this is just a quick temporary little system to feed this rocket with steam. The first few launches have to be steam, and then I can switch over to petroleum. Now, to figure out the exact amount of steam I need, I'm going to use Professor Oakshell's lab calculator here. I'll leave a link to this in the description. The distance is 10,000 kilometers, the first planetoid. Engine, steam, no solid fuel. We've got 1 command capsule, and then 6 research modules. So the fuel we need is 719 kilos of steam. So I'll come over to this, set this to 719. Now it's ready to go for once I have some steam in this room here. Also need to set these space scanners to detect the rocket instead of meteors. I'll assign this rocket to this asteroid. Oh no! I missed a piece of automation there. Oh, that's not good. Okay, I need a brave duplicant here to come over and fix that for me. Alright, there we go. That's connected. Let's get that sealed up. Now, for these doors, they don't actually need the NOT gate here, because we want the doors to be open when they are detecting. And then the gantries, those will be controlled by the same automation. So I guess I do need another brave duplicant here. This can jump over, and then come down here to these gantries. Okay, there we go. So I'm actually going to assign Rowan here for now. Why are you ineligible? There, rocket piloting. Now you're eligible. Get in the rocket. We're starting to pump some steam now. That'll get this rocket filled up. I probably should have put 2 gas pumps in here. This is it's taking a little longer than I was expecting. You sneaky little... How did you get here? So, I think I mentioned this in the last episode, but shovels have an insane pathing option. So, this shovel can literally go anywhere on the map right now. That's a lot of unnecessary pathing calculations. So you, my friend, you are in trouble. I really don't appreciate you taking all of my frames. I started the game at 240. Now I'm down to pretty consistent 30 FPS. This is what I was trying to avoid by wrangling all of them. But it looks like one managed to slip through. But the rocket's just about to finish here. Steam is almost up to full capacity. Alright, beautiful. I think I should be good to just say launch. No? Launch path blocked. Output sends a green signal when rocket launch checklist is complete. Otherwise sends a red signal. Awaits launch command. So what you're saying is I should just connect this wire to the doors. Okay, well these NOT gates are in a terrible position then. So once these 2 get built, I should see the door automatically turn... Yeah, there we go. They open, because the rocket is ready. The gantries close, because they're always opposite the doors. We have a secondary way of turning the doors on via the scanners. Yeah, okay, this is the final automation overlay. So it's directly from the scanners to the doors, and then directly from the rocket to the doors. Those need to be OR'd together. Then the inverse of that needs to be sent to the gantries. So you should be good to go now. Away with you. Launch. Why? Launch! How is the launch path still blocked? Is it because it's entombed? Can't be right. Well, all the debris is gone. Will you launch now? Oh my god. Well, that's why. I guess I need a robo-miner down here. Oh, there's our first rocket launch. New entry here. Calculations complete. And then I got an achievement. Space race and easy living. I don't know when I got that. But space race. Launch your first rocket into space. Oh, I am just one task away from completing Home Sweet Home. I need to build a great monument. Maybe we'll do that in this episode too. But the way the automation works here now, these stop detecting the rocket, so the doors close, and the gantries re-extend. New printable. I think we will take on another pilot. You know, Gosman is the face of Oxygen Not Included. I think I'll take on a Gosman. I don't have a Gosman yet. You could be another pilot for me. So, suit wearing, supplying, and researching. That's the most efficient way of getting a pilot. Do buff and twinkle toes. Then I did rock fan for Jean. Let's do early bird and quick learner with the 3 negatives. And I'll come back to the spreadsheet here. So Gosman will be another pilot. Looks like you are going in the right one on the PM shift. That is actually a really terrible schedule for you, right PM. You won't be able to take advantage of your early bird. But the beauty of this spreadsheet is that it is super flexible, so instead of putting her on the right housing unit, I can put her on the left instead. And now, instead of overloading this schedule, she appears here in this schedule. So, back in the game, instead of being on the right overnight, I can put you on the left overnight. And you can see that is where I also have some other early birds. Where is Rowan? Oh, here he comes. This just detected the rocket. Doors opened. Shouldn't get any breakage. The gantries retracted. Space mission complete. Any day now. Where are you? There you are. Get a bunch of data packs. And now if I look at the star map, I should see, yep, so there's ISO sap, oh that's new, niobium, and diamond on this planetoid here. ISO sap, what is that? Is that instead of iso resin? ISO sap. If I combine it with petroleum, I get viscogel. If I combine it with abyssalite and reed fiber, I end up with insulite. Okay, yeah, so it's just iso resin. But with these databanks now, I can get in a virtual planetarium. What's the maximum size on a laboratory? 120. Okay, let's extend these doors out. That'll give me plenty of room in here. Put the planetarium in with the other researching equipment. I'll make sure Rowan is out of the rocket now. Yep, there you go. Don't need to be manning that anymore. That'll go towards Gosman or Jean. Let's take on another one here. I could do a Steve or a May. Let's do a Steve. And I think for you, let's give you the Night Owl trait. Alright, so buff, Night Owl, Quick Learner, and Twinkle Toes. And then Biohazardous, Bottomless Stomach, and Mouth Breather. Alright, you will be my third pilot. Let's print you. Where does the almighty spreadsheet want to put you? So Steve, we have pilot. Let's do the left side. And it auto-assigns you to the overnight schedule, where I have 7 duplicants already, so you should be fine there. So left, overnight, put Steve. The Night Owl bonus works here. You know, I could actually just put you on the PM schedule. Yeah, I'm going to overwrite the spreadsheet here. I'm going to put you on the left night schedule. So Steve is left, PM. There you go. Now he shows up here. Oh wow, I'm actually completely out of regolith. There's nothing traveling on these rails here. That means my estimation in the last episode was a little on the high side. I might only be collecting enough for one consistent rail. Which is probably fine. I mean, the amount of power you get from just one regolith melter is enough to run this entire side of the base, so I'm not going to complain about that. It is what it is. I think it's because my estimations took the entire top of the map into consideration. Because I have these rockets here, I'm not collecting regolith from these 34 tiles, or from these 34 tiles over here. So this is Editor Comet now, just quickly updating the spreadsheet to account for that missing regolith. This number now is the width of the total collection area, rather than being a percentage. So if you do copy this, then this number here would just be whatever width your collection area is. So mine happens to be 280 blocks wide. My total width of the map is 348, but I'm missing 34 on each side. So minus 34, minus 34, that ends up being the 280. Because these numbers here are normalized to a 256 width base, they have to be divided by the actual collection size. So updated formula here takes into account the normalized size of the regolith distribution, and then the width of the base there. So really, I should expect something closer to 3.5 rails at 72 kilos a second. Like Rowan is about to finish the next research here. Beautiful. Got solid fuel combustion. That gives us the solid fuel thruster and the mission control station. That is new to me. What does this do? Provides guidance data to rocket pilots to improve rocket speed. Okay. Requires a clear line of sight to space in order to function. Now, I don't know how useful this is, because in the base game, right, rocket throughput is more determined by the mass regeneration of the planetoid. So just because I can get a rocket there and back more quickly doesn't necessarily mean I would then be able to send another rocket to that planet. And then it would take 2 duplicants, because one would need to operate the control station, and then one would need to operate the rocket. So unless it is 2 times as effective, or 2 times as fast, it would be better just to spend that extra duplicant on another rocket. So I'm not too sure if this is going to be useful for me. Now, I could understand this in the Spaced Out DLC, but I think for my case, yeah, I don't really have a use for it. Why do you have the full bladder debuff if your bladder's only at 6%? That's not good. That's a bug. I think it's because you were in the rocket. I have to reload the game to get that to go away. One moment, please. Okay, so Rowan is still stressed, but no longer has the full bladder debuff. Beautiful. I'm out of databanks already. Okay. That just means I need to send this off again. So instead of this planet, let's actually go to this one instead. I'll get Rowan back in here. Then I shouldn't have to change the amount of mass in here, because it's the same distance. Rocket is set, and the doors automatically open, the gantries automatically close. Go ahead and launch you. Or, right, I have to wait for the... No, it's annoying. Okay, now we can launch it. That should bring back enough data packs to finish off the hydrocarbon combustion. And then I can start getting some petroleum rockets in place. I think I'll save the hydrogen rockets for the next episode, because those require a whole different supplying mechanism. I'll also need to bring back some supercoolant using the petroleum rocket in order to cool down hydrogen far enough to supply it to the hydrogen rocket. It's a really easy jump to go from steam to petroleum, not quite as easy to go from petroleum to hydrogen. And Rowan's going to be gone for about 3 cycles, so I'll just skip ahead to when he's back. Space mission complete. Where are you, Rowan? Currently landing. There you are. Now, I don't think that's actually enough databanks to get me all the way to solid cargo. So I might need to send the rocket out one more time. The problem, if you look at the star map, there's nothing else in this closest ring. I have to go out to 20,000 kilometers now. And according to the calculator, a distance of 20,000 kilometers is not reachable unless I start using a solid thruster. That would cut down on the number of research modules I can send, so I can only send 5. But this should technically be possible. So let's try inserting that module. And I'll increase this to the 809. Let's see, so this will take... Oh, an automatic 400 and 400. Okay. Well, let's get you sent off then. Now this trip is going to take Rowan twice as long, 6 cycles instead of 3. Maybe in the meantime, I could do some digging. So let's take out another layer here. Oh! The mod lets you put ladders over Neutroneum. Okay. Well, let's be careful about that, too. Let's dig out all of this. I do want to preserve this cold biome. This is the last Mammoth on the map. I'm not too sure how this Phlox ended up on the outside of this biome. It is what it is now. I'll extend this ladder through the caustic biome and the forest biome there. Don't really care about those biome types. And I'll just extend it out on this side, why not? Dig through all of that. Oh, need to dodge this cold biome. I absolutely love this mod. Being able to get rid of all this Neutroneum here is really pleasing to my OCD. That means I could actually move this whole tree farm closer to the Neutroneum, because I can get rid of all of that. Oh man, that would take a very long time to do. Ooh, that also means I could... Yeah, I could get rid of the Neutroneum here, on all of the geysers. That would make things look really nice. Completely unnecessary, and purely an aesthetic choice, but still, I don't know if I could resist that. Oh my god. That means I could put piping through the center here now. I could just tell this Neutronium to go away. That is beautiful. I could run a pipe through here now. I can rethink my whole liquid piping setup now. That's gonna take me quite a while to redo all of this, and probably should be done between episodes. Because, yeah, I really can't figure out what's happening here anymore. So, in case you're curious which mod I'm using to do this, it's just called Demolish Neutronium. Had 5 stars. Absolutely wonderful mod. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a mod that will allow me to fill in these gaps in the Neutronium with more Neutronium. But that's really not as big of a deal as being able to get rid of these annoying little pokey things. Space mission complete. Where are you? There you are. So I'll unassign Rowan now. Shouldn't need to pilot anything else. I've got enough databanks to get through hydrocarbon combustion and solid cargo. Alright, good job, Rowan. Keep researching. Do you still have the... Oh, the full bladder issue is still there. Why does that happen? We'll just reload the game again, I guess. Yep, he's back to normal. He's not stuck with a broken bladder anymore. Researching would probably go faster if I just temporarily allowed my new pilots. So Gene, Gosman, and Steve. Let's allow them to research. Help Rowan out here. That means I could also get someone else into the star map here. Let's take a peek at this object. Now that I have multiple dupes, I'm gonna put them to use. Alright, Rowan, I believe in you. Or not. I guess believing in you was a mistake. Gene, are you gonna research for me? Yeah. We're 3 points away, guys. Come on. Steve? Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Research complete. I now have the petroleum engine, biodiesel engine. Are those the same thing? A liquid fuel tank and a solid oxidizer tank. No, it looks like they're not the same thing. Well, I don't have biodiesel, so we're just gonna do the petroleum engine. But let's also immediately get solid cargo queued up. So I don't need this rocket as it is anymore. Get rid of that, and that. Need a few more gantries so that my duplicants can access everything. So on top of the petroleum engine goes the liquid fuel tank. And then on top of the fuel tank goes the oxidizer tank. Actually, I'm gonna flip that. I'm gonna put the fuel tank... I'm gonna put the oxidizer tank here, and the liquid fuel tank there. So the first place I'm gonna want to send this rocket once I get the cargo depot, or the cargo module. Want to go grab some fullerene. Doesn't look like there's any on these others that I can see. So to get to 10,000 kilometers with a petroleum rocket, change this to petroleum, 10,000, no fuel thrusters, using oxalite, and no research modules. We're going to be using cargo bays. So we're going to need 564 kilos of petroleum and 564 kilos of oxalite. So 564 and 564. While I'm at it, I can set up the second one. Now, the oxidizer tank can hold 3 times the mass as the fuel tank. So I need 3 times as many fuel tanks as I have oxidizer tanks. So these 2 research modules here also need to go away. And then this one and this one will be replaced with the solid cargo bays. Now because I added those extra fuel tanks, I need to disable this auto-calculate fuel tanks here. Change this to 3. And the new value is 624. Alright, how are we on the cargo bay research? So interstellar research is done. That means I don't need any more databanks. Just waiting on the advanced research. And then I can bring back some fullerene, start making some supercoolant, and then in the next episode, get into liquid oxygen and hydrogen to prepare for the cryofuel combustion. Alright, beautiful. Thank you, Rowan. I love it when my duplicants are useful. I will queue up cryofuel combustion. Not actually going to get to that in this episode. I'm going to put on the cargo bays made out of obsidian or ceramic. This is important so they don't overheat. Or melt. Obsidian melts at very high temperature. Now the overheat temperature is 2000 degrees, but if this actually gets up to 2000 degrees, if it's made out of granite, it'll just melt. So I'm going to be safe and use obsidian. And then I do still need a rocket over here for research. And the first place this research rocket is going to go is probably to the oily asteroid here to figure out what these 2 unknown components are. And that is 20,000 kilometers. So if we set this to 20,000, doing petroleum with 3 fuel tanks, and oxalite, instead of a solid cargo bay, I'm going to have 2 research modules. That is 558 in both. So 558 and 558. Then I think to get the material out of these rockets, I'm going to use this existing rail here and just connect into the everything else belt. So this will come out, up, and in. And just to be safe, these should probably be made out of steel right here so they don't melt. Do I have any more oxalite on the map right now? I've got about 1.5 tons. Someone should come along and fill this up. I just have to figure out how to get petroleum up to the top now. I might need some extra refineries. Maybe for now. So instead of... So I want first priority to go to power. Second priority, using a bridge here, will be to the rockets. And then third priority could be into plastic. So I'll just messily route this for now. Just so that I have something working. And then, maybe between episodes, I can clean up all this piping. Now that I can go straight through this Neutroneum here, shouldn't be a problem. And then also put in some storage tanks here. Oh, what did I get? Oh, did I just find the... Yeah, I found the remnants of Earth. So here comes the petroleum to the top of the map now. It'll get buffered up in these tanks. That way, when a rocket arrives, it doesn't have to wait forever. In case there's not a constant stream of petroleum up here. It'll always have a little bit right here it can use. Dupes are getting the oxalite into these tanks here. I think one of the last things I'll do in this episode is send off both of these rockets. I'll bring back some fullerene, bring back some more databanks, and then I should be good to go for the next episode with cryofuel and liquid oxygen and hydrogen. Gosman just earned a skill point. You're still pretty far away from rocket piloting. I think I'm only going to be able to send one rocket. I can't have Rowan pilot both of them. I think the research module's more important if I had to pick one. Because then I can finish off the cryofuel combustion. I can send this one out in the next episode. So Rowan, do me a favor. Hop on this rocket for me. And it looks like this can't take off because it's buried as well. I think it's the hydrogen rockets that can never be entombed. Unless this has just been updated since the last time I played. Well, with that now, I will send Rowan off. Zoom out. Get a good view of this. And I think that'll be the end of this episode. Got quite far with these rockets here. Set up for the next episode. I didn't do too much down in the main base. I still would really like to get all of these liquids down here cleaned up, but I don't have anywhere to put them. And discovering that diggable Neutroneum mod was a game changer. Oh, maybe I take on one last duplicant here. How about an Ada? We can take on an Ada. You will be my final pilot. Alright, welcome to the base, Ada. Alright, so I've got all 4 pilots picked out now. I've got spaces for all their rockets, and I will get the tech for the advanced rockets in the next episode. So, that's it for this one. I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.